a mining town called the Golden Gulch, while the West was yet untamed. There two bad men made a bet, and the winnings never claimed. The boys had ridden into town one payday afternoon to line the bar at the Lucky Star, which was Dandy Rand's saloon. Now the dandy was an ornery cuss, if a chance you made him sore. His only law was the lightning draw of the heavy guns he wore. On his watch chain hung a dozen bells of the finest silver spun, each tiny bell for a man that fell when the dandy drew his gun. And they seemed to jingle merrily to a tune that brought him luck, but they rang the bell for the man that fell when the dandy rang 'em up. Well, the boys had finished a round of drinks when the barroom door swung wide, and a man walked in with a reckless grin and a funny cat-like stride. On his dusty boots were golden spurs, his face was lean and brown, and at each hip the well-matched grips of 6 guns holstered down. He spoke in a voice that was deathly quiet and said, "I've come to waste some shells on a man they say whose draw is quick with a chain of silver bells. A dozen bells for a dozen men buried somewhere on these plains, and it's my intent to beat that gent. I've come for Dandy's chain." Well, the dandy faced the stranger's gaze, his coat was button tied. A gun swung free above each knee, but the bells were hid from sight. So it's the dandy's silver bells on which your heart is set. That's a fancy pair of spurs you wear, would you care to make a bet? The silver bells for the golden spurs, but I warn you from the start, you're gonna lose that bet and all you'll get's a bullet through your heart. Well, the stranger smiled his reckless grin and said, "If the dandy tries, they'll find him dead with a chunk of lead placed neatly between his eyes." Then the stranger unbuckled his spurs and slid 'em along the bar. Said, "I'm calling the hand of Dandy Rand, come out wherever you are." Slowly the dandy's hand went down and unbuttoned his lapel, and there it rested on checkered vest, the chain of silver bells. The stranger watched with narrowing eyes, the time had passed for talk. He hadn't drawed, but his hands were clawed like the feet of a diving hawk. Then suddenly Dandy's hand went down for his right hip gun, and no one saw the stranger draw, but 2 shots rang out as one. And the dandy stumbled to his knee with a look of wild surprise, with a chunk of lead, like the stranger said, placed neatly between his eyes. And the stranger stood at the end of the bar, apparently unhurt, except for a spot of red that spread beneath the left pocket of his shirt. The Golden Gulch is a ghost town now, its mining days are done. There's coyote tracks in the tumbled shacks, bleached white by the desert sun. And the Lucky Star's deserted too, all littered with sand and straw, where the laughter rang and Dandy's gang once drank to his lightning draw. And the silver bells and the golden spurs still hang in their place of fame. Above the bar, the Lucky Star still waiting victor's claim.